1:30, because he hasn't come back from Vienna. So they will talk to us next week. And now we'll talk about the volunteer movement in Ukraine and how the volunteers are going to move forward. I give the floor to Ruslan Golubitsky, who is head of the National Rebirth Foundation, also Vyacheslav Nebarsky, who is the deputy head of Mistecka Barrikada, Олександр Сидоренко, singer of the Tena на Майдані Конго band, Марія Бурмака, who is the Ukrainian singer and writer, Dmitro Lazutkin. Good morning, dear journalists. Today we have come to you with a certain initiative that our structure as the Last Barricade and the other volunteer organizations have been implementing for quite some time. But this is another stage of getting unified with other volunteer movements, with writers, publishing houses, and other concerned people who are ready to join in trying to involve people who live in the east of Ukraine, to involve them into social life, because we hear quite a lot from them that they are being forgotten. So now I go into specifics. We, as the Last Barricade, have been engaged for quite some time in helping soldiers and local residents in the regions, in those regions adjacent to the anti-terrorist operation zone. We help them to feel involved in the life of Ukraine, and we invite different musicians, writers, and public figures to communicate with the residents of those regions and also involve them into different kinds of collecting material help. And we address the publishing houses so that they help us with books that we take to libraries, clubs, and schools of the anti-terrorist operation zone and to the regions adjacent to it. And so today we have come to us with the initiative that the National Rebirth Foundation addressed us with. They said that they want to get involved in the process, and they appealed to the Ukrainian publishing houses, musicians, and some public organizations, including us, so that we act together. Well, first of all, we can say that, first of all, it is the Ukrainian state, in particular the Ministry of Culture, that should be doing this. Regrettably, you know, there were some attempts to create various public councils at the Ministry of Culture. In particular, we did join such a public council, which was called the Weapons of Culture. They assembled people who are visiting the anti-terrorist operation zone so that the state helps cultural figures to provide for their transportation and travel so that they feel themselves more or less normal. However, this initiative on the part of the state has faded away. So, of course, we would like the state now to help, but their help should be in the form of non-interference into what we are doing, because we already have drawn our methodology and principles along which we act. The state should help the actions that we are planning and conducting to become easier for us a bit than today. And I again draw your attention to the fact that we address all the concerned Ukrainians, Ukrainian publishers, and other people so that they could help us with books that will bring to the east of Ukraine. We plan to go there by the end of September. We collect everything. Please get involved, because this is a very necessary thing. Thank you. I'll give the floor to Sashko Fozi, also known as Sidorенко, who will tell you about what? About the weather. I know that he is a good musician, but he is also going to the anti-terrorist operation zone.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I am Fozi. In this case, I am a friend of Dmitro Lazutkin, who's famous poet. We are planning to go to the East with books. Basically, Slavik said everything correctly. There's nothing to add. We do communicate with people who live there. I mean, and there's certain depolarization. You communicate either with people who are for us, who are with us, or with no one. From the point of view of people who are pro-Ukrainian in the East, neither the state nor Ukraine in general, well, they do not care, and they forget about them, and every time when there's a chance to remind them that we have not forgotten about them, I believe we need to do that. As to books and libraries, the idea is wonderful. If publishers give us books, I remember that I had a library, and I brought all my books here when there was Maidan. We don't have any books left, so that's why we address the publishers. We would like to get some books for children because it's impossible to reconvince adults. We need to work with the next generation. We need to work with those who we can change, who we can take out of this information war, so that they are on our bank of the river. We will ask publishers, and we would like publishers to give us books, because the books in Ukraine are cheap, and we will take them there. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maria Burmaka. When I sat, I read this absolutely, the phrase of an absolute genius: everything that helps cultural development works against war. So the workers of humanitarian sphere who sit in the first row understand this very well, and the Ukrainian state has not understood this all the time. In the regions where there were no Ukrainian songs or Ukrainian books or Ukrainian education, now there are Russian troops, and people do not associate themselves with Ukraine. They're adults or children. And those people who do associate themselves with Ukraine, and they are there, however, in minority, they do need our support and defense and protection. So people who are concerned and who can influence the situation with their word, their song, their movement, they do work, and they do go to the anti-terrorist operation zone, and they are involved in, they are joining in the collection of money, and also there were right words about kids' education. I did sing a children's song there. But of course you should first of all go there, and then you should help with some material things, what you can take in your hands and hold. We understand very well that at the moment there's not just the war according to the language principle or the principle of patriotism or patriotic education or Eastern territories, but also according to the education principle, upbringing principle, humanitarian activity, versatile support. But in those regions, it is very hard to find and operate with the notion of electronic book. We almost all read electronic books, so everybody has a pile of books at home which they can give away. So we do address the publishing houses, but also everybody concerned, and the involvement of people whose word is well heard, who are public people, is very important, so that people who are there, those people who have pro-Ukrainian intentions and ideas, and those who need Ukrainian books and who shall bring up their children, they should understand that someone is thinking of them and still wants to support them and attempt to identify themselves with Ukraine, as opposed to the Russian world, which was instilled there for many, many years. So I join in this action. I will bring my books, and I also address the appeal to the publishing houses so that we give some new books to the children, because it is pleasant to take a new book into your hand which smells of fresh print, so please join in. But apart from books, this is a wider volunteer initiative. Now we want to support the volunteers who collect books and medicines and other stuff, because there is a campaign to discredit the volunteer movement. That's why, you know, we invited many people, but I think that this is just the first meeting that we stage here.
Greetings, I'm Dmitro Lazutkin. I'm a writer, sports commentator, journalist. And we traveled to the East many times, and Marichka was right saying that it's not just about books. Usually when volunteer buses go with some cultural program, with songs, poems, readings, all these buses are packed with some warm clothes, some generators, some food. Everything's needed there. And while we have this volunteer movement so active, we do hope that we will win. We shouldn't get relaxed, and we shouldn't forget about that. They do need books. You think, why would the servicemen, military, need the books? But the soldiers are so happy when you perform. They're happy when you leave books signed or not signed. Please don't speak so quickly. The main thing, it should be very lively and very topical literature, and you can come to the public group Громадська барикада. You will find the contacts in the internet and the cooperation with the publishing houses, Smolоскип and others. That is the current Ukrainian literature. These books are in need, and we also cooperate with local libraries. We visited the libraries in Lysychansk and Swatovo, in small villages, and we were leaving some books. We were leaving some books for children with pictures, and especially the military are interested in books with pictures, and we need to remind you about Lel magazine. It would be good to publish something similar, but back to the books for children. For libraries, they do need some Ukrainian modern books which are bright and colorful. But what are the libraries? That means that we will support Ukrainian, very reliable RIA. Ukrainian RIA will be our guarantee that we will have some normal state over there. And I call upon all of you, please join us, contact the organizers. In the end of September, we'll go there, and we will take it all there, and believe this is something very needed, and the local citizens and the military will be very happy, those who are concerned, those who are really taking care about Ukraine. These are young people, people who are 15, 17, 20. They don't want any Diana or Elena. They want to live in a normal country in Ukraine, in pre-front territories. This is our audience. We shouldn't forget about them, and we should work with them. That's all I would like to share with you. Thank you.
Hello, I am Ruslan Durbitsky. I represent the International Charity Foundation National Rebirth. Just briefly, how we got the idea of this event. For the last 6 months, we've been facing a number of problems where the volunteer activity is concerned. There's a huge campaign on to discredit us, some provocations, and many people are disappointed in the movement. They do not believe in current processes, and volunteers have got tired emotionally in many cases. So we decided to join our forces and to show that we can, that we do not surrender, and that we are prepared to go to the end. And you know, everything was said. I just want to thank our friends who are not here, the Foundation for Regional Initiatives and Smolоскип publishers, also Meridian Czernowitz. They have already agreed to help us, and everyone who wants, please do join us. This is an initiative. We do not limit ourselves to books or whatever. Everyone who has a opportunity to help financially or in kind, or those who want to, who can help us to promote the event, please join in. If we are greater in numbers, then greater is our impact, and we want to show people in the East that we do not forget about this, and they are being imposed the thought that they are not required by anyone, that they, the West does not care, Kiev does not care, no one cares, and only our eastern neighbor cares about them. This is a myth, of course, and we want to show that this is not so.
Please now come up to the stage, all of you, so that the journalists could ask questions. UCMC, we've heard that besides publishers, just citizens can join this movement. What are the requirements? Not requirements to books, but what are the preferences? These should be from Ukrainian publishing houses in Ukrainian language, or maybe some other books. And also, do you have any agreements with libraries or some schools in the East, or will these be some mobile libraries that you will organize there? Yes, we missed that, and it would be important to mention from the experience. We would like to request people to bring books which they would like to read, because very often people bring what they don't need, and then we sort it out and we understand that these books are not needed. The criteria should be bring a book which you would be happy to read. And that's the first thing. Second, I've mentioned we have certain experience. We have people over there who cooperate with us, who are active. We have developed the methodology not to bring to them all the time something so that they come as spectators, but we inspire them so that they become more active as citizens. And there are precedents that in Slavyansk, for example, there's a person who's very active, and he's the head of the chair of Russian language in Slavyansk University. And this person has initiated, has started some NGO, and he invited some active citizens of Slavyansk, and they ask different Ukrainian funds and international funds so that they can organize very big Ukrainian festival in Slavyansk. So that's it, not someone from outside, like some Kiev artists or Kiev organization go to them and organize some concert, but they are looking for resources to bring for themselves the artists, the performers, and to organize the festival for themselves. That's great, because we cannot all the time go there. We cannot all the time be the curators. If they take up this initiative, then I believe we have achieved half of the objective, because they have become active. Talking about mobile libraries, we have never been thinking about that. We have not been thinking about that and planning, but we mean the libraries which are there where they don't have any modern Ukrainian literature. They have some old Soviet books. Some of them are good, but some of them are just waste paper. So our priority is to fill in these libraries. In Kramatorsk, we cooperate with Vilna Hata, which is free house, which is the public initiative. Young guys who are very active, they got some premises, and they invite the citizens of Kramatorsk there, and they organize different events there, lectures, discussions. So we see that there are some active people who are getting involved into this national volunteer life of volunteers, and we will bring these books to local libraries, clubs, and schools. Talking about books, in fact, the fiction, that is what the military interested in, the fiction, some adventure books, and I heard in different units talking about military, they would like to get some historic literature, so that it's not about Kutuzov and Suvorov, but about Tupai, about Cossacks, Cossack movements, so that it's fiction, but so that it inspires. They are asking for such type of books. Andrei Kulikov, Public Radio. Ruslan, could you please give 2 examples of provocations against volunteer groups, and who organizes the campaigns of discreditation? Who organizes this campaign we know well? Russian mass media. The bots, I know the latest thing, for example, we found in Kiev a private company which is working for Russian business officially, according to the documents, basically, but they are working as bots on our forums. They provide comments. We have some forums. They go there. We have some chats on the East Foundation of Regional Initiatives. We are looking for someone. We communicate with people. They get there. They call all the time. They write. Like you have a chance to provide housing, buy us a house. They start writing letters. We cannot refuse. If we refuse, they put this, download this answers to the internet. Look at how this fund is working. During the last 2 months, people would request some assistance. We can provide assistance. What do you want us to buy for? Give us money. We are trying to to find money. We look at what are the cards, banking cards. These are different people. We cannot confirm who their identity. No, a maximum from all the sources we collect information. If you are a public figure, then you will have a page in the social networks. There will be some photographs. You will be somewhere. But if you declare that you have people, you have some association, and you are nowhere, no one knows you, no one saw you, then who are you? And adding to what the guy said, we have more than 20 requests from the East. The Free House, Vilna Hata, And so we work with them. These are all people who are related. There are requests, but there are provocations all the time. I don't know whether I need to describe what they are. Without the names, I don't know. If I don't tell you what is the name of the organization, it's not within my powers. The next question. Yulia, Ukrainian National News. About the books, will they be only in Ukrainian, but maybe in Russian, in English? Which type of books? Only Ukrainian language books? As I understand, I was also interested in that. Any languages, in any languages. Of course they want Ukrainian, but Russian is fine. I believe that Ukrainianization should be happening in Russian language. It would be great if we bring many books there where they would have Lenin on the cover, but something else will be inside, and talking about who's should we contact, should we look for your personal pages in social networks, or are there some places, some venues in Kiev? There is one point in Kiev, Межигірська 21, Смолоskip National, Spassky 31B, last barricade, Повітряфлотський Avenue 36, office 67.
2440555 or through the site, and then our event and action will be very actively presented in social networks. The collection points will be all over Ukraine, and we provide for the transportation of the books to the regions, so just follow the social networks, and we'll have several people in every region who are responsible for this thing. They can collect the books and then get them to Kiev. At the moment we have more than 1,000 volunteers for this, and all the information about these collection points in other cities you can find on your sites. Yes, you can find it on our sites, and we also have a registration form for journalists. We can send you the information, how this is going on, whom you should connect to get the information. First of all, could you tell us which cities you will deliver first of all? Well, 5 regions: Donetsk, Luhansk, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and Dnipropetrovsk. Slavik and the last barricade are planning the logistics. This is to them. I can tell you that in Luhansk region, this is going to be Severodonetsk, Kramatorsk, Lysychansk. In Donetsk region, Slovyansk, and we are agreeing on the rest. Starobilsk, Svatove, well, Svatove for sure. I don't know whether we will be able to go to Starobilsk, whether it will be on our route. We will try, and we will stage by stage publish the information on our site. We are planning as we are doing. Dmitro also said about historical literature for the military. I understand so that you will visit the military units as well. And we have another question. Irina Monat, publishers. My question is to Sasha. Are you going to send your books to, well, if there were money, maybe I will bring my book there. Well, you are a contemporary Ukrainian writer. Do you plan to send your own book there? I haven't thought about this. Another question. There were negotiations with the publishing houses, and you call upon them to provide the books. But have you talked to writers directly? Well, Fozzy does not want to give his books, but maybe there were talks to other writers. Well, the publishing house is Meridian Czernowitz, which publishes contemporary Ukrainian books. There will be books by Oksana Zabushko, Sergei Zhadan, Yuri Andruhovich, Igor Pomerantsev, by the way, in Russian, although we'll bring the Ukrainian translation there as well. Yurko Izdrik and mine. Meridian Czernowitz is the publishing houses that publishes the interest in modern Ukrainian literature, known to those who are reading, and all the best books, all the best publications will be there. Not the things that are not being sold, but the best books. And I think that this applies to Smolоскип and other publishing houses. So welcome to join. Any other remarks? Thank you very much for the information. We see that, so the first result of the collection will be sent away in the end of September. And you know, the buses will be full, don't have any doubt, as usual. So all the information on this event, including the collection points, you can find on social pages of the organizations that were presented here. Thank you very much. Our next briefing is